This is Fallout 3, Condensed. Before jumping into the main story, let's quickly recap the history. America and China went into war over diminishing resources until the year 2077, when both countries decided to throw a bunch of nukes at each other. Most of American society was decimated by nuclear fire, but a small percentage of the population was able to survive by taking shelter in the vaults. The vaults are underground bunkers made by the Vault-Tec Corporation, designed to be self-sustainable for a long time. Rather than simply saving people, Vault-Tec had other ideas. They subjected most of the vaults to twisted scenarios. In Vault 11, the inhabitants had to sacrifice one person every year, or else everyone would die. In Vault 106, the entire facility was pumped with psychoactive drugs, rendering the residents insane. In Vault 69, there were 999 women and 1 man. Although a few vaults did manage to survive through the years, most of them met a grim fate. Despite the nuclear devastation, life still continues on the surface. From the irradiation, new lifeforms emerged. There are a few that aren't hostile, but most of the mutated creatures pose a constant danger to anyone trying to survive in the wasteland. The Brotherhood of Steel and the Enclave have emerged as the two leading factions competing for control in Washington, D.C., where our main story takes place. The Brotherhood of Steel is focused on aiding the people of the capital wasteland, whereas the Enclave is more concerned with asserting their dominance. Anyway, that's it for the brief rundown of the history. Your story begins in Vault 101 in the year 2258. Congratulations, you have just been born.
Hi there. I'm your daddy, little guy.
Sadly, your mom goes under cardiac arrest and dies shortly after giving birth to you, leaving your dad to raise you on his own within the confines of the vault. Throughout your years in Vault 101, you live a pretty comfy life, doing normal things like celebrating your birthday, shooting roaches with a BB gun, taking a nonsensical test to determine your occupation, beating up bullies, and beating up your dad.
Stop screwing around. Hey, pal.
Around the time you turn 19 years old, Amada, your childhood friend, wakes you up and says that your dad suddenly left the vault without any explanation. The vault has been thrown into chaos and you're being hunted down, so you need to leave and find your dad. After fighting your way through security, you open up the vault door and step outside into the capital wasteland. You head into the nearby town of Megaton, a settlement built around an undetonated atomic bomb. Why build a town around a bomb? Who the hell knows? You meet Colin Moriarty, a man who supposedly knows your dad.
Oh, your daddy passed through here all right. Here and gone. Got what he came for and then left.
If you give him some caps, do a job for him, or employ some persuasive skills, he will tell you that your dad was en route to Galaxy News Radio, a radio station somewhere in the ruins of DC. On your way over to Galaxy News Radio, you bump into Sarah Lyons, a high-ranking officer in the Brotherhood of Steel.
The super mutants have overrun our brothers at the Galaxy News Radio building, and we're headed there to back them up.
With her and a few other BOS soldiers, you face off against a bunch of super mutants. Once you clear out the super mutants in the area, you're granted entry into the Galaxy News Radio building. You go upstairs and meet 3 Dog, the host of Galaxy News Radio.
Heard about you leaving that vault, traveling the unknown, just like dear old dad, huh?
3 Dog knows where your dad went, but he wants you to do a favor for him first. He tells you to go get a new broadcast relay dish and stick it on top of the Washington Monument. That way, the broadcast of his radio station can boost its reach. Having no other lead, you take the job. Pop into a museum, take down some super mutants, grab the relay dish, zip to the Washington Monument, and slap the dish on top. Easy peasy. With the job done, 3 Dog is happy to spill the beans. He says your dad has been busy with something called Project Purity. He was in a rush to get to Rivet City, so that's your next destination. Upon reaching Rivet City, you see that it's a settlement set up in an aircraft carrier. Pretty neat. At the science lab, you meet Dr. Lee, a scientist that worked with your dad on Project Purity.
You're James's son, aren't you? What are you doing here?
Dr. Lee explains that Project Purity was a plan to purify water on a scale large enough to provide clean water for the entire capital wasteland. Due to some complications, the project was dropped, but your dad was eager to pick up where they left off. He was thought to be in the Jefferson Memorial Building where the old lab is at. Dr. Lee tells you to not go looking for him there, so obviously you decide to go look for him there. After clearing out the super mutants in the building and getting into the control room, you find a recording left behind by your dad. In the recording, he mentions his search for Vault 112, hoping to find Dr. Braun, so onward to Vault 112. You find the entrance to Vault 112 hidden in a garage in the middle of nowhere. Upon entering the vault, you're greeted by a robo-brain.
According to sensors, you have arrived 202.3 years behind schedule.
At the main hall, there's a circle of loungers, each containing a person inside. Given the ominous vibe, why not just hop into one of the loungers and see what happens? Taking a seat, you are transported into a virtual reality known as Tranquility Lane. Soon after you arrive, you're welcomed by a strange little girl named Betty.
I was just starting to get bored. Oh, we're going to have so much fun.
Betty wants to play a game with you. If you accept, she tells you to go make little Timmy cry. It's not too hard, you can go about it one way or another. You go back to Betty, and she unveils her true identity.
I was known as Dr. Stanislaus Braun, but here I choose this identity.
So yeah, Betty is really some creepy old guy masquerading as a little girl. Your next task from Braun, we're calling him Braun now, is to break up a loving marriage.
You f***ing coward! I can't stand the sight of you! Get away from me!
Hello.
Once you succeed in doing that, Braun drops some more info. Being the creator of the simulation, Braun holds absolute control over it, so he's been tormenting the people in it just for shits and giggles. So anyway, Braun ups the ante. He tells you to arrange a creative death for Mabel Henderson. There's a number of ways you can go about this.
Let me just go light the oven to get it warming up.
Braun is having a blast, so he gives you your final task. Dress up as the pint-sized slasher and kill everyone. After going around and murdering everyone with a kitchen knife, Braun is overly satisfied with the entertainment you provided, and he lets you leave the simulation. But what if you refuse to go along with Braun's sadistic little game? Well, there is another option. You can activate the failsafe program. The failsafe will kill everyone in the simulation, resulting in their deaths in the real world as well. Braun will be the only one left alive, leaving him alone in the simulation for eternity. So if you activate it, a bunch of Chinese soldiers appear and shoot up everyone, putting an end to their suffering. Braun is upset over the loss of his playthings, but he will still answer your questions. Turns out your dad was in the simulation with you this whole time. Yeah, he's the dog. Braun also explains what the GECK is, a device he invented that was made to terraform land after nuclear devastation. Whether you participate in Braun's games or activate the failsafe, either way, you exit the simulation once you're finished. Back in the real world, you finally reunite with your dad.
Son, you've saved me. I was afraid I'd be trapped in there forever.
Your dad explains that he came to Vault 112 to get more info on the GECK, but he got stuck in the simulation instead. While he is happy to see you, your dad wished for you to stay in Vault 101, but now that you're here with him, the two of you head back to Rivet City. Back in the science lab with Dr. Lee and your dad, the whole crew is back together, allowing them to finally move forward with Project Purity. Along with the scientist team, you head inside the Jefferson Memorial Building and into the control room. Your assigned job is to go to the lower levels, activate the flood control pumps, and drain the intake pipes. While you're handling that, the Enclave suddenly shows up and they invade the facility. Back at the control room, your dad is stuck inside the chamber with Colonel Autumn, the commanding officer of the Enclave.
I suggest you comply immediately, sir, in order to prevent any more incidents.
Colonel Autumn demands to have the facility turned over to him. Refusing to comply, your dad floods the sealed chamber with lethal levels of radiation, killing himself in the process. Colonel Autumn somehow survives this. You'll see him later. You and the remaining scientists escape through the tunnels and reach the Citadel, the Brotherhood of Steel's headquarters. Dr. Lee knows Elder Lyons, the head honcho of the place, which makes it possible for your group to gain entry into the Citadel. Since the BOS is already in support of Project Purity, they're going to be helping you find the GECK, the missing piece needed to complete the project. You find out that the GECK might be in Vault 87, which is accessible through the Lamplight Caverns. So, off to Lamplight Caverns you go. When you get there, you discover a settlement entirely consisting of little children.
Forget these little kids. I'll take you to big town where the where the grown-ups live. Only people under 18 get to live in Little Lamplight.
Deeper into the cavern, you find your way into Vault 87, and the place is packed with super mutants. It starts to become clear that this vault could be where the super mutants were born and bred. As you continue onwards, you stumble upon a super mutant that's very different from the others. He's actually capable of having a normal conversation, and he isn't immediately trying to kill you. This oddball super mutant introduces himself as Fox.
It was only a matter of time before someone like you showed up for the GECK.
Fox proposes a deal. If you free him from his cell, he will go retrieve the GECK for you. Since the GECK is in a heavily radiated part of the vault, he's better suited to go get it, given his immunity to radiation. Should you agree, he keeps his promise and fetches the GECK. Afterwards, Fox will part ways with you, for now. On the way out, you get ambushed by Colonel Autumn and his lackeys.
Make sure the GECK is secured aboard my vertibird.
Later, you wake up in Raven Rock, an Enclave base. While Colonel Autumn is pressing you for answers, he's summoned by President Eden, the head honcho of the Enclave.
I do apologize for Colonel Autumn's attitude. He's been under a great deal of stress lately.
Eden orders his soldiers to stand down and invites you to go meet him face to face. But Colonel Autumn openly defies him and orders the soldiers to shoot you on sight. Making your way through the infighting, you reach Eden's office and see that President Eden is not a person at all, but an AI.
Ah, but I have. I'm right here before you. Let's get to brass tacks, shall we?
Eden asks you to contaminate Project Purity's purifier with a modified FEV virus with the intention of eliminating mutations like supermutants and ghouls. What Eden doesn't tell you is that a lot of humans will die too. Because most people are already doused with radiation, they would be vulnerable to the modified FEV. I should mention that Colonel Autumn did not agree with this plan. He simply wanted to take credit for activating the purifier so that the Enclave would be seen as the heroes. Anyway, Eden gives you a vial of the modified FEV. Optionally, if you somehow persuade Eden to self-destruct, you will see Raven Rock blow up as you leave the base. And hey, guess who's back?
I knew you had survived, and I had hoped to assist in your rescue, to repay my debt to you.
If you wish, you can have him tag along. You head on back to the Citadel, where Sarah and Elder Lyons are preparing to launch an attack to secure the purifier. Now that Liberty Prime, this badass looking mecha, is ready for battle, you and the BOS troops begin the assault. After blasting away the Enclave soldiers along with Liberty Prime, you get into the Jefferson Memorial Building and reach the control room, where you face off with Colonel Autumn.
There's nothing to stop me from killing you this time.
You can just kill him, or talk him into walking away. Dr. Lee reaches out through the intercom and says that the purifier has to be activated ASAP before the entire facility explodes. There's a few different ways this could play out. You can enter the chamber yourself to activate the purifier, resulting in you succumbing to the high levels of radiation. Alternatively, you can make Sarah Lyons enter the chamber, saving yourself. You can also make Fox do it, which makes the most sense because he's immune to radiation. So anyway, either you, Sarah Lyons, or your companion can activate the purifier. With the purifier up and running, everyone in the Capital Wasteland has clean water. Yay, woohoo! You can choose to contaminate the water with a modified FEV and activate the purifier. You still succumb to the radiation inside the chamber, like in the good ending. The contaminated water is spread across the Capital Wasteland, killing many humans and mutants alike. The Enclave survives, and they're set to dominate the Capital Wasteland. Most people seem to agree that the good ending is canon. So yeah, that's it. That was Fallout 3 Condensed. Thanks for watching.